Have you ever dreamed of heading out into deep space? Exploring strange new worlds? Uncovering mysteries? And admiring exotic, otherworldly landscapes? Or maybe you're just looking for a board game that can take you on an epic journey across distant galaxies? Even if only for a little while? Or maybe you simply want a board game that is truly awesome. If any of that sounds like you, then this episode of Dice on Board is exactly what you're looking for. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Andromeda's Edge, published by Cardboard Alchemy and designed by Luke Laurie, the creator of the excellent Dwellings of Eldervale, a review of which you can find on my channel, is an epic board game set in the dark and dangerous depths of space. Each player chooses one of the several asymmetric factions, and their goal, as is common not only in Eurogames but also in the titles with 4X elements, is to score as many victory points as possible. There are many different ways to ultimate dominance, but each of them is built around three key elements. The first is progression along 5 advancement tracks, representing science, industry, supremacy, trade, and the level of your civilization. The second pillar of the game is ship development, achieved by acquiring new modules that not only greatly expand your range of abilities, but also increase your position on those same 5 progression tracks. The third core mechanic is exploration, followed by the development of planets discovered during the game, which provides not only additional victory points, but also new and often very powerful abilities. At its core, the game flows very much like the designer's previous title, Dwellings of Eldervale. If you've played the game before, the structure will feel familiar almost right away, just moved into a science fiction setting. On your turn, you're basically choosing between 2 main options. You can launch one of your ships out to explore space, gather resources, and take control of new areas on the board, or you can return to station by pulling your units back to your base to activate abilities from the modules you've collected during the game. This creates one of the game's most recognizable features, a clear push and pull rhythm. Your forces move out onto the board, then retreat back home, making room for engine building, tech upgrades, and strong abilities that happens off the map. Exploring the board, which is made up of randomly drawn planets and worlds, is about more than just grabbing resources, treasures, or artifacts. These are also the places where your future installations and colonies will be built. And of course, they are not exactly safe. These worlds are where the conflicts break out, often fast and brutal. Not just between players, but also against the raiders, mysterious enemies, controlled by the game itself, alien species, strange and unknown, alongside human criminals and outcasts, all trying, just like you, to survive and claim a place in the cold, unforgiving void of space. Combat in Andromeda's Edge is big step up compared to Dwellings of Eldervale. It's more layered, broken into several steps, and, most importantly, it gives players much more control over how the dice actually behave. Yes, Andromeda's Edge does use dice, but only in this one specific moment. So, before any red flags goes up, let me explain how it works. When a battle starts, players first decide whether to bring in additional units. Those units needs to be in range and on the board already. It's called escalation. Next, each player may play a single tactic card, in this case a diplomacy card, which can have a huge impact on the fight, and in some cases can even end the battle before it really begins. In general, tactic cards are incredibly important in Andromeda's Edge. They are a major source of powerful actions and abilities, and you can gain them in several different ways. You don't just play them during combat. They are useful in almost every part of the game, often providing extra resources, progression, or victory points. Back to combat. After tactic cards are played, players count how many dice they'll be rolling. This depends on how many dice their units contribute, but also on additional tactic cards they may have in hand, some of which add dice with fixed results already set. On top of that, players can spend energy, one of the game's core resources, to add even more dice to the fight. Then you roll. The winner is the player who has the single highest die result. Sounds simple? Yes and no. Because if there is a tie, players compare their next highest die and then the next one. This continues until someone has a lower result or simply runs out of the dice. At first glance, this might still sound very similar to Dwellings of Eldervale, but it really isn't. Mainly because Andromeda's Edge adds a large number of tactical cards that modify those results. And on top of that, the game introduced a brand new and excellent mechanic called targeting. Targeting is based on the number of units actively taking part in the fight, additional abilities, tactic cards, and even ship upgrades you gain during the game. In short, targeting determines the lowest possible value your dice can show. For example, if you have 3 units in battle, your targeting is 3. If you have 4 units, your base targeting is 4. That means any die that shows a 3 or lower gets rerolled, until it shows at least your targeting value. In this case, 4. Because of it, it's easy to see why attacking or defending with large groups can be very effective, as long as it makes tactical sense. Especially since Andromeda's Edge allows you to place captured moons which represent different kinds of benefits into sockets. These can go into your modules to further power up your engine, or even into the socket of a last battle, called here Tactical Operation. Which means that sometimes even losing a fight can turn into another source of valuable resources. As you can probably tell by now, Andromeda's Edge is a big game. It's packed with both large and small systems that works together to create a rich experience with different paths to victory. This is a game where players can win even if they never win a single battle that seems important in a first glance. Before moving on to the final thought, there is one more big and very important system I need to talk about. It's something that Dwellings of Eldervale, even though it's clearly the main inspiration for Andromeda's Edge, didn't have at all. And at the same time, it's a system that has a huge impact on board state and on how players score. As you upgrade your modules, gain points on different progression tracks, build installations on planet, or play tactical cards, you push the event marker forward. This marker, slowly but constantly, moves along the event board, bringing the game closer to major global effect. Once the marker reaches its limit, depending on the number of players, a new tile is revealed and added to the board, expanding the known universe. After that, the top event card is revealed. This card tells you which progression track is now worth extra victory points, which new raiders appears on the board, or what special event or rule comes into play, and very often these effects can seriously shape how the rest of the game unfolds. What's important is that these events aren't just random surprises. The game includes several ways for players to look at upcoming event cards ahead of time and prepare for what's coming. In some cases, you can even change their order. Because of that, the event system becomes a meaningful strategic layer. Rather than just a source of randomness, players have no control over. I started this review without the fancy language, and I'll end it in the same way, because I really want the message to be clear. Andromeda's Edge is an astounding game, and easily one of the best games I've played in the last few years. I know, It's a bold statement, but I've played enough games to recognize when something truly special hits the table. From the asymmetry, unique abilities, and strong balance between factions, to the sheer number of paths to victory, this game is not just a Euro where you can plan ahead, stay in control, and build an efficient strategy. It's also a game that delivers real emotions and genuine satisfaction from what's happening on the board. No matter if you play aggressively or peacefully, whether you focus on upgrading your station and modules, or aim for success through colonizing distant worlds. The game gives you plenty of options, and never makes you feel like your chosen path is wrong or somehow worse than the others. On top of that, the game offers a massive replay ability, and in my opinion, a reasonable randomness in combat. It adds tension and atmosphere. After all, space battles should include a bit of luck and chaos, because those seemingly impossible victories are the ones we remember the longest. And interestingly enough, I leave the visual presentation for the very end, which should already tell you how impressed I am with the game's mechanics. The artwork, planet tiles, and ship models all look very solid. But the deluxe version you're seeing here is on another level. From the excellent insert that keeps this massive game perfectly organized, through the great-looking resource pieces, all the way to the atmospheric buildings and impressive raiders miniatures, Andromeda's Edge is a real feast for the eyes. In the end, Andromeda's Edge gets a 9.2 out of 10, because it's honestly hard to point out any serious flaws. Sure, it's a big and complex game, so the learning curve can be steep. With 4 or 5 players, downtime shows up when people are stuck making hard choices, and combat may still feel a bit too random for hardcore Euro fans. But for me, these are just tiny scratches on a beautiful diamond, a game that delivers one of the most epic and satisfying board game experience I've had in a long time. I also recommend checking out my review of Dwellings of Eldervale, which is a smaller, simpler, and more accessible take on Andromeda's Edge, especially if you prefer fantasy theme. That said, even though I almost always choose dragons and magic over lasers and black holes, Andromeda's Edge is so good that I'll pick it nearly every time I'm in the mood for a truly epic Euro strategy game. And if I really think about it, the board game that sits at number 1 on my all-time list is actually Fantasy 2, just wrapped in a sci-fi blanket. Well, this is a topic for another episode of Dice on Board. Oh yeah, if you like my work, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, or drop a comment. It really helps the channel grow. See you next time.